Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. This is LZ, and as always, I'm here with Nick. And today on the show, we have Ray Schulte, Director of Communications for the National Sports Card Convention. Ray, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. It's always great to talk to you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome,
Absolutely.
Ray.
We appreciate it more. This is great to have you on. So, we are actually in the middle of the road to the national. We're leading up to it, Ray. And I just wanted to kind of open up the show by giving you a chance just to tee up the national. When is it? Where is it? Just give us a little introduction of the road to the national this year.
No, absolutely. This is my 14th year as director of communications, and I don't think we've ever had as much momentum going into a show than we have this year. I truly believe that. I mean, we got started early January, and given basically everything, obviously the hobby is very strong, and it's not just national anymore; it's international, and there's a lot of momentum from the industry side. But leading up to the road to the national, we've been extremely busy. There's going to be a lot more newer entities added to the national this year. To begin with, which I'm excited about, is we have 3 trade nights this year inside on site at the IX Center. And we have David Marino, who many of you know David, and he used to handle the mint, and now he's working with us and helping us with the trade night. So you can expect something spectacular from David and the rest of our
Wow.
team.
So these are
And
official trade nights now, where before it's sort of unofficial.
Organically happened.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. Well, they're national NSCC trade nights, and
Awesome.
yeah, and we're adding some elements to it,
Hmm.
and such as maybe we're talking about soccer, maybe we're talking about Pokemon, maybe we're talking about baseball or football, but it's going to give a little bit more perspective in terms of the actual cards and try to get people to be in a position where when they walk into the room they know what to go, they know who to talk to, and just have a great experience.
Oh wow, that's great. So a little more organized, but probably a little more approachable too for people,
A little
especially that
more,
first time
a
going.
little, a little bit more creative, a little bit more
Yeah.
visionary, and
Mm,
and it's all about it. Just like the industry, it's all about evolving, And
yeah.
we had a very strong year last year in Chicago, and we always learn something. At the end of the show, we always say, "Hey, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can try this. Let's stretch it a little bit." And we've done that, and there's a lot more. But the trade nights are going to be cool. They're going to be really hot this year.
So speaking of being cool, one of your themes on this road to the national is that it's cool to collect.
Yeah,
So can you just elaborate on what you mean by it's cool to collect and how important that is for you and the national?
yeah. From our standpoint, our team and me and I really feel this too. The industry, it's first and foremost, it's about collecting. Forget about trading cards or memorabilia. It's not necessarily what it is. It's how you go about it. Why do you collect? And then what are the benefits of collecting? And I think that's the one thing that we want to get across, that you don't have to flip cards, or you don't have to collect and I collect movie posters. You don't have to do that, but find something that you really love to do, and set some parameters. Most people that collect, it's a lot of it is about the chase, right?
Mm.
And especially whether it's cards or autographs or whatever, and be in a position where you can kind of feel good about what you're doing, and focus on something that makes you happy, create some memories for you that are meaningful. And I do that with my movie posters. I've had movie posters. I collect a movie poster for about 20 years now, and I do it, and I do it because every one I purchase, there's some memory behind it. Maybe how I got it, where I displayed it. I had mine up in my New York City apartment for many years, and I got some great memories. And
Love that.
I look at my poster and I say, hey, remember that? Or yeah, that was cool. So that's what it's all about. And so we came up with it's cool to collect. And it wasn't something that we had to own. It's not ours. It's the industry's,
Mm,
and we hope everybody uses that. It's cool to collect. And hopefully that mantra will resonate. I think it has, honestly. We've seen it, and we've seen a lot of people grab it and understand it. So we're excited
excellent.
about that.
Yeah, I love that. It's very catchy. And I think about that just with my son who's 9. I want to make sure it's cool to collect cards, and it's a fun thing to do, and he's not embarrassed, or it's not like a geeky thing to
Oh
do to
no,
collect
yeah,
something. So yeah, I think that's great. So
yeah.
speaking of, this year's national, I know you mentioned this year it seems like you have a lot of ambassadors. There's a
Mhm.
lot of momentum. The momentum seemed to start even earlier than last year. What's new this year versus last year's national, or what's different about what we can expect out of this one versus others?
That's a great question. First of all, I love the venue. The IX Center is it's just a great venue.
Hmm.
It's close to the airport, not far from downtown. You got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You got the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Maybe an hour away. There's some things for the entire family, and well, obviously you got the Guardians in town that week, so it's going to be fun. One of the things that excites me too, and I give credit to the industry more so than anything, but this year will be the first year that I've been working with 3 professional teams: the Cleveland Browns, the Cavs, and the Guardians are all involved in our show this year, and
Wow.
that's a first.
Ooh.
But the reason I say I don't take credit for that is because all of them have kids that collect.
Yeah.
Ah,
There we
so
go.
so when we approached them, it wasn't as if we had to explain who we are, what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish. It was, how do we do this? How do we get in? How can we be part of this? And that's really neat. That's kind of I just give that to the growth of the industry, and more people, like we said before, it's cool to collect. Well, especially when you have a lot of these guys, like with the Browns, is most of the dads with the kids. The Cavs are the kids that are running the show, and the Guardians. We worked with the Guardians back in 2018, and had a great relationship with them. I met them in spring training again this year, and so we're gonna do some really cool things like meet and greets, like with Manny Ramirez, things like that. And
ooh,
but I think what we're trying to do is build up on the experiences, as much as
Hmm.
we possibly can. When I work with the mainstream media, I'm always working with them in terms of, like, well, we do giveaways, ticket giveaways. We'll give a VIP tour, behind the curtain type tour. We do a lot with nonprofits. This year, we've got 3 nonprofits, which we'll probably announce fairly soon, that we're going to do auctions to benefit the community. So, I love the fact, this new management team that's been in there. They're just very progressive, and they're
Hmm.
they're very visionary in terms of what they like to see accomplished, and they work extremely hard. I mean, they are hard workers, and you're going to see the benefits of that. And I'm just excited. I'm really excited. I normally get excited anyway, but
Yeah.
this year is just it's I can't wait.
Well, I definitely want to echo what you said around the city and just all the things that there are to do. I had the opportunity actually to go to Cleveland a few months ago and just scope out the city. And you're right, like all of those sports stadiums are right there if anybody wants to check them out. I was shocked by how like good the food was in the city too, because I'm a little bit of a food snob. So I was really, really happy with the with how I ate the
Sure.
week that I was there. Yeah, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There was a casino down the street. There's going to be tons of things for people to do. After at night, what have you, after the trade nights and what have you. But Ray, with that in mind, with people kind of traveling there, what advice do you have for first timers that are coming to the National, or maybe like new families that are traveling to Cleveland this summer to go to the National?
Let's say watch your podcast.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, that's probably a good start. Yeah.
That's the clip we're going to use, everybody, right there. Right there. Ray just said.
I advise them to, to get on social media.
Mm,
And you can go to the Nationals platform, or you go to many others, and people are starting to talk about the National, and just kind of learn. I'd also, and that's one of the reasons why I really kind of went out and secured these ambassadors, because the ambassadors, what I'm trying to do is let them display their passion, and kind of at the same time talk about what the National is all about and how cool it is, and and the one thing is that it really is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and whether you choose to go back again, that's up to you, but for the most part, you got to give it a shot to begin with,
yeah.
and so talk to as many veterans as you can, and kind of put it in a position where like I know you've had a couple of our ambassadors on already, and we'll continue to kind of speak the word, and I love what you do, because like even on the National platform on Instagram, I'll repost something from Cleveland that talks about restaurants, you know
Sure.
I think I posted
Great.
one the other day, but you're right. There's so many great things,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I just think keep up and ask as many questions. Maybe if you live in a city, have a brick and mortar, uh, talk to the owner. If you go to card shows, talk to people,
Hmm.
and ask them, about the National, and learn as much as you can. Now, once you made that decision, then you got some other things to think about.
Of course,
you
which kind
know,
of like yeah, the other side of it too, Ray. Let's say, I'm an old hat, right? I've been to 10 nationals. I've been to 15 nationals. You know what? I don't know if I should go this year. I've been to so many. What's going to be so great about this one? What do you say to a veteran that's been around forever? Like, why should they definitely come this year?
honestly, Nick, I've never heard that before.
It's probably
Okay.
true.
No. What I mean is that most people, I would say the majority of people that go to the National, they know what to expect.
Right.
And what is the National? How does the National differ from a regional or a local show? Is that you got everybody there. You got CEOs, founders, you got every category, and so that no matter what you know no matter what you do, you're gonna run into somebody, or get free appraisals, or get something authenticated, or watch some really good Q&A, meet some players. There's always something to do. So I think that's why the National is the National, because it's kind of like the community that everybody strives to be part of, and you're gonna be there. And then I also think too, and I say this quite a bit, a lot of the veterans go, a lot of the guys in brick and mortar or even online now, they go because at the National, you can kind of really get a feel for what's going on in the industry, and you take that back to your local show, your local brick and mortar, and you can speak intelligently in terms of whether a
Right.
product, all the people you've talked to. I mean, if I was a brick and mortar guy, I'd be going there asking every question, in terms of like what's hot, you
Yeah.
know, what
Hmm.
what do you expect, and so I go back schooled. I go back and I get an idea so that I could be better for my customers. I can answer questions, and you always want to become a resource. And
Right.
so for me, I look at it that way. A lot of people just come to have fun, but I look at it, hey, where else are you going to get that?
One thing you
And
mentioned, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, I've gone to a lot of shows this year, and people ask me like, why do you do that? I do it because I want to get a feel for the industry. I want
Mm,
to get a feel
Hmm.
for what's going on, what's the mindset. And, the last couple of shows I've been to, I've learned a lot. And so it helps me out when I go and I talk to other people. And I think, the people or the not the, I'm not talking about the collectors or the fans. I'm talking about the exhibitors or the brick and mortar guys. They know that if they get the opportunity to meet and just kind of get as much information from one guy or 10 guys or whatever, they're gonna be better off when they go home.
sure. One thing you mentioned, Ray, and this is for the audience as well that may not realize this. You just passively mentioned it, but the grading companies are there. Like PSA, Nat Turner was on the pod, and he said they bring like a house's worth of equipment there. And
Wow.
so, I mean, I talk to old time collectors all the time, and they're so freaked out about shipping things to PSA, whatever.
Yes.
Like now's your chance. Grab that car and don't even go on a plane if you're afraid. Jump in the car and drive. It's centralized in the country. Get that. Like it is so convenient to
Hmm.
be able to literally take your very expensive card and get it crossed over to PSA or graded at PSA. You are literally handing it to them, avoiding all sorts of possible catastrophes. And I personally think that's like a massive benefit
It
um,
is.
Yeah.
for having them
Yeah.
there. So
Well, some people think I'm crazy, but for me, I think it's the greatest spot for nonprofits to go to.
Hmm.
And you think about
huh.
it, nonprofits usually are not made up of memorabilia or collectors. They probably have an executive director, and but they all have auctions, and they need to know about authentication. They need to
Oh,
know
right.
where to go for
Oh.
product. And so and there's thousands and thousands of nonprofits out there. I get calls all the time. Hey, do I need to get this autograph authenticated, or how do I get it authenticated? And I think that would be for me a place to go where hey, you can learn everything you want in like 5 days.
Wow. I need to be hunting down
Whoa.
cards at nonprofits now, Ray. I feel like I need to reach out and be like, do you have any of these rare cards that I
Well,
need?
I'll tell you a secret. I mean, I go to a lot of nonprofit auctions because you can get some great deals.
I might be
Yeah.
going soon too.
Yes. Yes, it's not going to be a secret for very long, Ray,
Crap.
unfortunately. We might have to edit that out.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Speaking of secrets, I love how this just dovetailed into my next question. Um, I guess it's probably if you think about the last couple shows and then maybe forward thinking to this year, is there some part of the show that you would consider like it to be, or maybe it's an experience that you consider it to be like a hidden gem that maybe not many people know about, or maybe not many people are taking advantage of that you're like, oh, you guys got to check this out. Not enough people were over there last year. Is there anything like that, like a hidden gem?
Well, I tell you what's developing,
Hmm.
and that's the collector, not the collector. That is the corporate area. And and I think as we all enjoy success in the industry, and we get to a point where we have a show like the National, and they know that it's obviously the return of investment will be worth it. More and more, the corporate partners are bringing in, a much bigger display, a
Mhm.
much bigger engagement opportunity. They're bringing athletes into the corporate area, which really wasn't done, for many, many years. And so you walk down the line and you see, there's Joe Montana, or there's in the corporate area,
Hmm.
he's moved over. So I think I think that is probably the biggest thing that I've seen that's unusual that I haven't seen in the past years. But no, you think about it, again, these people are smart people, the corporates, and they know that having an athlete come to their booth, whether to jump on a podcast or to answer a Q&A for a couple of minutes, it's worth it. And I like that. I mean, I like the fact that we have a partnership with corporates that really are engaging, and again, it goes back to the experience that we want to give to our attendees. And so for me, that would be the hidden gem. That it doesn't sound like
Okay.
much, but it is significant. I mean, it really makes a difference.
No, and that actually excites me as well because that's one of the things that I was looking for. Nick and I were looking for when we go to the National this year because there's still a lot of people that aren't going to be able to attend the National because you do have to travel. And I just think it'll be great to go around to some of those corporate vendors and sponsors and talk to them about technologies they're offering and services they're offering. And we want to get them on the pod or do some quick video and content and
Yeah.
provide that to our audience. So yeah, we're really excited. That's great to know
I
that you
remember
have a
last
section like
last
that.
year, LZ, you and I couldn't make it. It was sort of like
Mm-hmm.
last minute for us. And
Mm,
we were so thankful that we could see some of that action from
yeah.
afar. And I think that's part of what we want to bring to it this year is make sure if you can't make it for whatever reason, we want to get you as close to it as you can so that, you can enjoy it. And then hopefully the next year, make it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to name names, but I will say from the category, we are getting more technologically enhanced in terms of the dealers and the exhibitors and the companies in the industry, and you saw that a lot last year. You really did, and I'm assuming that's going to continue. But that's something that people that are coming in need to see, and whether you're a 15-year-old kid or a 64-year-old dad, it doesn't matter. And it's easier. It's easier for the 15-year-old kid to understand that, but
Yeah.
he can teach that. So it's okay. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, the technology I think is really kind of been advancing, and I think everyone's embracing it. Really, I really do.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I know I totally agree. So Ray, is there I know this will probably air on June 21st. Are there any announcements or anything kind of new that you've found out that people are coming to the national? I know we've been working on kind of upping the female athlete presence, from
Sure.
prior years. Or anything you want to share with the audience? Any cool stuff happening?
Well, you mentioned female athlete. I mean, very excited to have Cheryl Miller coming to the TriStar Autograph Pavilion, make an appearance, signing there. I mean, uh, wow, with everything going on in women's basketball now, she is like the epitome of all American and well respected, and obviously her career speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
But to have her as one of the signees in the autograph pavilion, TriStar, that's huge, and I'm very excited about that. And I have to say that TriStar does a great job. I can't remember how many years we've been together, but every year it just gets better and better and better. And so, like with Jeff and Bobby and Mandy, they're working behind the scenes. Just do a fantastic job. So we're going to have another star-studded group, coming in, athletes this year. Excited for Mandy Ramirez. Cal Ripken will be there. Mayweather. Just so many. Hasek will be there. I mean, just so many different, athletes, and so and we've done a little something different this year. We started in conjunction with TriStar. We started announcing the athletes like every Wednesday, and
Ah,
so we picked a few athletes. And leading up to last year, we listed them more toward maybe or right about now, but we've already been starting announcing them. So we've got a good portion of them, but we'll still have more coming as we move forward. But the group right now is already amazing.
excellent.
It is. It's very impressive. I've seen a lot of the announcements. You even have an actor. You have Randy Quaid
Yeah.
coming to the show, which is
Uh,
great. Which is
oh yeah.
which ties into this show because we have cousin Eddie
Yeah.
on the show, and Randy Quaid played cousin
He
Eddie.
shows up at
So
Christmas time, St.
yeah,
Patty's Day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
has shown up a few times.
The real
So
cousin
that
Eddie will
yeah,
But
be
you
at
you
TriStar.
bring up a great point though, LZ. I mean, I think one of the many reasons, is the reason why we're so strong in the industry and why we had so much success last couple of years, and with the national, is pop culture has taken off,
Yes.
and Pokemon has taken off, and so that expands the category. It really, what I've seen, it really opens up the category for international, and
Mm-hmm.
more international people have been interested in coming because of the. I mean, obviously, basketball, baseball, and football is prevalent, but they're all interested in Pokemon. They're all interested in pop culture, and there's a number of companies out there that are really kind of focusing in on pop culture, and I love that because,
Yeah.
again, for me, that's collecting. You
Mm-hmm.
know that
Yeah.
that that's an. I mean, in the early days, I'd get baseballs and I get photos all the time, but I never thought of that as collecting. It was a collecting to a degree, but it wasn't the same type of collecting when you have a game plan, you know,
Mm.
unless you're looking to get every autograph of every Yankee player during spring training, that's fine. But with pop culture, again, it's all about. I keep going back to this. It's all about creating memories,
Yes.
and I think when you look at Star Wars, when you look at some of the other facets, I mean, those are times when you look back and say, hey, did I collect this, or did somebody special give it to me, or
Mm.
I remember the '70s. It's like
Yeah.
all the above, right? And for me, that's collecting. That's creating memories for a lifetime.
Ray, you had touched on it before. We mentioned it earlier, but it's a great way of getting families involved too. If you kind of expand and bring pop culture into it, and movie posters, and Star Wars and TV shows and all that, and Pokemon. So
It's a place where a dad, a son, a daughter, a mom can interact in a way that they both understand. Like, the dad may have been a Yankees fan from 20, 30 years ago. He still has that same mentality. The son is just going through it now. And so for me, it's like, all right, this is the best way to connect them, because they can speak about baseball, they can speak about their favorite player, but yet they're still different, you
Right.
know.
mhm. Yeah.
And I think that's where I think a lot of women and a lot of daughters are getting more involved. I can't tell you how many grandfathers and grandmothers are coming to the show because they see their kids and they want to help, please their kids, and they're
Sure.
buying them cards, they're buying them, Pokemon or soccer or whatever, and
Hmm.
it's fun to watch. It really is. I mean, people ask me, like, do I get to do any buying at the show? I don't buy anything at the show. That's my head's not there, but I
Yeah.
will. I will. I'll go around and just kind of eavesdrop on conversations, and if it's a family conversation, man, it made my.
Yeah, it makes your
Awesome.
day. So speaking of making memories, is there any story or memory that you have from the past? Let's say, I mean, you can go back as far as you want that really sticks out to you, just like a special moment, a special story that you want to share with us about one of the nationals in the past.
Well, I've there was one story, and it's basically similar to what I just said,
Hmm.
but I'll tell it quickly because
Okay.
it's really fascinating. I was walking down the aisle, and when you walk down the National, you don't walk straight, you walk sideways, right? And so I got to this one booth, and it was one of the auction houses, and they had a Mickey Mantle jersey up there. And I see a dad looking at the jersey, and he had like a 15-year-old son sitting next to him. And the dad, I could hear him say it to his son, when I was a kid, this was my idol, Mickey Mantle. And so, the kid tugged on his shirt. He goes, no, dad, no, dad. It's Judge. He's the GOAT. And I mean, I was in seventh heaven. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
But what's even better was that the dad kind of, for 2 seconds, he was like, then all of a sudden he turned around and looked at his son, and his eyes were like this big. And I realized there at that time, the dad connected with his son.
Yes.
and it may have been one of the few times that they connected in such a way that it's like, oh my God, wow, and it was one of those wow moments, and I'll never forget that. And that's when I started thinking about it's not about cards, it's not about memorabilia, it's that connection,
Yeah.
Mm.
and they made a collect connection that hopefully will help them in so many different ways. But that was really meaningful.
That's
Yeah.
great, Ray.
That's
Thank you for
amazing.
sharing that.
I mean, LZ's bringing his 15-year-old son with him, and I imagine there's
Yeah.
going to be, who knows, 17 different memories. Like with,
Yeah.
it's just amazing, like all the possibilities there with the
Yeah,
athletes and everything. Wow,
yeah. But
I'm very excited.
well, but
Yes,
that brings up something that is extremely important. Your son hasn't been to the national yet,
He
right?
has not. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Well, then you've got to prepare him. You've got to really prepare him. You got to physically and mentally. You got to prepare
it's going to
him.
be training
Yeah,
for the.
you kidded me before about off air about hiking and all that, and
Mm.
I do quite a bit, but you know, in many respects, I do it to keep in shape for shows like the
For
National.
the national. Oh, jeez.
I mean,
Oh man, you got
I
to
Hiking
mean,
chase
mountains.
chickens around and like carry a log around to
but
get
but
prep for the match.
but think about it. You got 600,000 square feet. You've got crowds that make it, like I said, you walk sideways, not forwards.
Mm.
You got so much energy, pent up energy, and you look at that, and my son came with me or worked with me last year. And at the end of the day, every time he'd be in the VIP booth, like sleeping like this,
It's exhausted in the
yeah,
corner. That's
exhausted.
great. Yeah.
But the thing is that it's going to. I mean, they may not think it, but it's going to be very taxing on them from
Oh,
an
yeah.
energy standpoint. And
Yeah.
then and that that's one thing. That's the physical side, but the mental side
Mm.
too is, you really got to study your floor plan, and you got to figure out like what do I do? Do I like cards? Do I like memorabilia? Do I like athletes? And then you got to start and have a game plan, almost like an itinerary. All right, day one, we're going to do this. We're going to go to the
Mm.
corporate area, and we're going to make sure we see everything in the corporate area. Maybe in the afternoon we'll hit the athletes. We'll hit the TriStar Autograph Pavilion. That's day one. Day two, we'll look at some different areas, some maybe exhibitors that we know are there, that are high profile. You may see a Gary V or somebody else who's working the booth, and you want to make sure you stop by and say hello. And so you really need to plan it out, and then just be prepared to get enough sleep at night.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 15 years old and he just wants to go, 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 go. But I'm gonna have to protect him a little bit.
well,
That's
well,
nothing
here's
that
a
Mountain Dew can't fix.
Yeah,
well, but
couple
here's the
power
thing.
bars.
Here's the thing, LZ. He can go, but remember, you're going to be right behind him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're done. You're done.
Yeah,
I'm not
He can
worried about
outlast all
him.
of us.
we need a curfew. We need a strict curfew.
I know. Like,
Strict.
when does the trade night unofficially end? Is it 2 a.m.? Is it like New York hours? Oh
Oh,
man. Oh, Ray. All right. I'm like jazzed up and ready to go now. I'm sad
yes.
that it's like a month away. So, what before we close this out, I just wanted to give you to give the audience a chance to cover just some almost like details behind this. Like, where can if they want to find out more information about the National, where can they go? If they want to buy tickets, where can they get
Sure.
them? That sort of thing.
Well, obviously go to our official website, WNCSS show, NSCC show. I'm sorry, NSCCshow.com. And you can go to our Instagram, Facebook. We're starting up YouTube this year. We're starting TikTok.
Mhm.
But I think if you go to the website, they can direct you to all the social media platforms too. So
Okay.
yeah,
And they can buy
NSCC
tickets
show.
directly on your website.
You can buy admission tickets, VIP ticket packages. You can buy autograph tickets.
Mhm.
No, they'll land at a certain date, but you have plenty of time right now. I would say that if you want to do the VIP, they will sell out.
Mhm.
And if you're thinking about it, just go ahead and buy it because they will sell out.
Okay.
Mm.
And if you're in the area and this is a last minute thing, maybe you're there on business and you want to pop in, are you able to buy tickets at the door?
Yeah, you'll be able to buy tickets at the door all 5 days. Children under 12 and under get in free.
Awesome.
And
Nice. That's
so,
huge. Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's something that I always give Mike Burkus credit for. Mike is the one who hired me back in 2010, and he was really a visionary, and he was great for the industry. But yeah, at the time there was like kids 12 and under get in on a Sunday, but he expanded that to like all 5 days,
That's great.
and
Mm.
so yeah, so it's been good. But I am really excited about this year. Mainstream media, the international side of it, a lot of different elements that we haven't been involved in the last couple of years. We're going to be doing to this year, like with the teams and with some of the other outside vendors. So it's going to be great.
Excellent. Great. Well, Ray, thank you for your time. I feel like this is a good overview for noobs and veterans. And, I'm excited about some of the things you announced here, especially Cheryl Miller. That's really cool. And yeah, looking forward to it.
And there's going to be more announcements too. So as Ray said, make
Yeah.
sure you're following their Instagram especially. And he's going to be making announcements. We're going to be teaming up with Ray a few more times over the next few weeks and months, making some other
Yep.
announcements too. So
Yeah, some
stay tuned,
giveaways.
everybody.
Stay tuned.
Thank you, guys.